Hi, this is Miss Litton, and this is an Honors Bio 7th period review. Say hi.
Hi.
The 5 of us. I don't know where everybody is. A little concerned. Anyway, hope you're making good choices wherever you are. This is chapter 12, the cardiovascular system. So the first thing you want to remember, let's go through our song. Ready? Arteries go away from the heart, veins go towards. Arteries, arterioles, capillaries in the middle, venules, veins. Why do we go like this?
Exchange.
Yeah, exchange. So you want to know differences, the structure and function, okay, for these 3 vessels. So for your arteries, what are some things that we could say about arteries to write something down about them? What could we say? Thicker. Why are they thicker? What do they have more of? More what?
Muscle.
More muscle. Good. Why do they have to have muscle?
Because of pressure.
Yes. Who's putting that pressure on them? The
Heart.
Yes, you're so smart. Because they have the highest blood pressure, right? Due to the heart. And so they'll expand, be able to take that pressure and then snap back in order to keep the blood flowing in the same direction. Okay? What are some things you could say about veins?
Thinner than arteries.
Okay, thinner. Good. They have a larger something. What do they have larger? Lumen. That's the opening is larger in veins than it is in arteries because the blood is moving at a lower pressure and usually slower, and so in order to accommodate all the blood, it has to be bigger. Okay. What's something else that valves have?
Valves.
Did I say valves?
Yeah,
in
you
my
did.
statement? I'm tired. Yeah, valves have valves. Veins have valves. And this is in order to ensure that one-way flow of blood to continue and bring it back to the heart. So remember on veins, the definition of a vein is not carrying deoxygenated blood, but it's going what? Away or towards?
Towards.
Towards the heart, whereas arteries what? Away from the heart. And then capillaries, what happens there? All what? Exchange takes place at the capillary. What else could you tell me about a capillary?
Single cell.
Yep, 1 cell thick. Okay, what else could you tell me? At the arterial end of the capillary, you have high what? Remember?
Pressure.
Yeah, hydrostatic pressure that's forcing fluid out at the capillary end. Okay, at the venule end, your osmotic pressure is greater than your hydrostatic pressure, and this is making waste and CO2 get recovered back into the capillaries. And there's a delicate balance between those. Hydrostatic forces fluid out, osmotic pressure draws fluid in. All right, so not all your capillaries are open at the same time. You have sphincters, which are shunting the blood to different places. All right, next big topic you need to know, structures of the heart. And we know that atria, what? Collect, and ventricles pump. Tell me again. Atria, collect, ventricles pump. Okay, to remember the parts of the heart, there's a few things we have to keep in mind. We have to remember our lefts and our rights. So you imagine this on a person. So the red side over here would be the what side? Left side. So anything going out this direction is going to be left. And everything on this side is going to be what? Right. Good. Okay, so you have to remember your lefts and your rights. Another thing you have to remember is what?
Anything to the lungs is pulmonary.
Anything to the lungs is pulmonary. If you're going towards the lungs or away from the lungs, you want to remember the word pulmonary. Okay, and then your third thing is arteries go away and veins go towards. If you do that, you should remember. You will have a picture of the heart on your quiz, so you want to be familiar with it. Do you want me to start with this simpler one first, or do you want me to go right to the other one? Want to make sense on this one? Let's make sense on this one. Okay, the 2 top chambers are always, what did we say? Atria, collect. Okay, so what would be the name of this atria here?
Right.
Yeah, this is the right atrium because it's on the right side, and this is the left atria. Good. What's down here? Right ventricle, and this is the
Left ventricle.
left ventricle. Good. Who brings blood into the right atria? Do you remember? Superior. Hang on one second. Okay, so what brings blood to the right atrium? Superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. Okay, is this blood oxygenated or deoxygenated?
Deoxygenated.
And where is it coming from?
Body.
Body. Everywhere except your
Lungs.
lungs. Good. All right. When it goes down through the right atrium, it's going to go through a valve, a one-way valve. What's it going to be called? And how are you remembering that? You're so smart. Rat. Good. And then it's going to go down into the right ventricle. Where does it need to go? Lungs. Why does it need to go to the lungs?
To get oxygen.
Yeah, so it's going to go up and out over here and up and out over here because you have lungs on either side of your body. So what are the names of the vessels over here? Left, pulmonary, artery, because arteries go away. And the ones over here are going to be your right, pulmonary arteries. It's also going to go through a valve, a one-way valve, to keep the blood from coming back into the right ventricle after the right ventricle contracts. Blood will want to fall back down. What's the name of that? Semilunar. Good. When the blood comes back, it's going to be oxygenated. Come back here, and from this other side as well. This over here would be called the left pulmonary vein. Left because it's on the left side. Pulmonary because you just came back from the lungs. Vein because arteries go away and veins go towards. So over here, this one over here would be the
right pulmonary vein.
Good. Perfect. So you're coming back from the lungs into the left atrium. You're going to go back down again through a valve. What's the name of this one? And we remember because LAV spells lab. Now, this blood is ready to go where?
The body.
To the body. Okay? We want to head out to the body. What's the largest vessel of all?
Aorta.
Aorta. Good. And it too is going to go through a one-way valve, so when the left ventricle relaxes, blood doesn't come back through. What's that going to be called? Semilunar. So I would take that to help you review the parts of the heart, okay? And I could do that with you, or you can do that independently so we don't spend time on that, or I can go through and label everything on here with you. You tell me what you would like. Good? You good, babe? Okay. All right. And you have plenty of pictures of the heart that you could go and capture. Okay, so let's take a look at these. You know, somebody out there in listening land, it's going to be like 10:30 at night, and you go, dang it, why didn't she just go through it all? I'm all, where's my phone? Yay! 100. The one's up there. Yay! Good job, Star-Lord. Now on the quiz tomorrow, what I would do is imagine the box, label it in your mind, or draw it on your paper. Oh, you don't have paper. Label it in your mind, imagine it, and then go from there. But clearly you'll get 100%, so it's not even a worry. Not even a concern. Go Star-Lord. Okay. Yay. Okay, let's just ask the next ones out loud. I'm going to assume you're going to get 100%. Vessels leaving the right ventricle. Leaving the right ventricle. What's that going to be? What kind of arteries?
Pulmonary arteries.
Pulmonary arteries, good. That's another one. Okay, and vessels leaving the left ventricle.
Aorta.
And yet another 5. You're the tied for the lead. Excellent. All right. So now, a couple other words that we need to go over. We need to talk about blood pressure. Okay. So when you measure your blood pressure with a sphygmomanometer, you're measuring the systolic pressure over the diastolic pressure. And remember the two. Systolic is when the ventricles are contracting, and diastolic pressure is when, when the ventricles are relaxing. And the way I remember that is if they relax too much, you will diastolic. Good. And so when you're taking your, here you can see systole and diastole. I'm good with that. I'm looking for, heart sounds. When you hear your heart beating, what are you actually hearing?
The SA and AV nodes.
AV nodes and the semilunar valves slamming shut. Okay, that's what you're hearing when you hear the heart beat, is you're hearing the valve doors slamming shut. So bless you. So the first ones you're going to hear is when the ventricles contract. When the blood is going, you've got deoxygenated blood coming down here, and you've got oxygenated blood coming down here. When that atria are contracting, the AV valves are open in order to allow that blood to go down into the ventricles. But when the ventricles contract, then you want the oxygenated blood here in the left ventricle to go up and out of the aorta. It's going to want to go back up into the atria where it came from. But that door has got to slam shut, and your deoxygenated blood, you want it to go out to your lungs, but it'll want to go back in there, and you want these valves to slam shut. So that's the first sound you hear, is you hear the AV valves slamming shut. Then when the ventricles are relaxing, it's so funny, I drew it over the picture that wasn't actually doing that. I'm really sorry. But this next thing that happens is when the ventricles relax, the blood's going to start to fall back down from the aorta, get sucked back down from the aorta and the left and right pulmonary arteries. And when that happens, the semilunar valves are shutting. So it's going to go AV, semilunar, AV, semilunar, AV, semilunar. Okay, so that's your heart sounds. Another thing you're going to want to know is what your pulse is. And your pulse is just the rhythmic expansion of your arterial walls against whatever you're using to measure your pulse, like your fingertips. And it's expanding due to the what?
Pressure of the heart.
Pressure of the heart. Yeah, the force on the blood due to the heart. What tells the heart to beat?
Electrical impulses.
What?
Electrical impulses.
Yes, but where is that coming from? What's stimulating that heart to beat?
Thing in your brain.
Thing in your brain. What's that thing in the brain called?
Cerebellum thing.
Oh, cerebellum's back here, but it's actually your medulla oblongata that's telling your heart to beat. And it has nerves that extend down into your SA node. Your SA node is known as the pacemaker. Now, does it actually set the pace? Well, it sets the pace that was told to it by the medulla oblongata. Okay? And you have a wave of depolarization across your atria. Your atria will contract, then it hits your AV node, and then your ventricles will contract at the same time. Atria, ventricles, relax. Atria, ventricles, relax. And when you look at an EKG, you see a little bump, and then a big spike, and then another bump over here. This right here, do you remember what wave that is? P, and then this is what? Q, R, S, and T. The P, okay, this P wave right here is from the atria contracting. And then this Q, R, S, this portion is from the ventricles contracting, and then the T is from the ventricles relaxing. And so we studied that, it looks like this, right? Atria contracting, Q, R, S, ventricles contracting, and T is ventricles relaxing. And the atria relax when the ventricles are contracting. Yes?
Can you go over like the thing like that?
Yes. Atria, ventricles relax, this.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Atria, ventricles relax. So this would be P, and then QRS, T. P, QRS, T. P, QRS, T. Does that make sense? All right. Okay, so now,
Age.
I had some questions here. Okay, Star-Lord, I believe in you. Oh, hi, Cyborg. Yay! 6, you're the lead. You 5 are the lead. No one else. No one else. Just these 5. Good job. All right, so now let's review our circuits. Pulmonary circuit is just heart out to your lungs and back to your heart. Systemic circuit is heart out to the rest of your body and back. Okay, and then when we look at the different parts of the systemic circuit, everywhere except the lungs, okay, we know what we're doing in the lungs. Let's review that first, though. What happens at the pulmonary circuit? The blood drops off,
deoxygenate.
the CO2, right? And it picks up oxygen. And the capillaries are surrounding the alveoli of the lungs. The alveoli within the lungs are little teeny tiny air sacs called alveoli, and that's where all exchange will take place. In your systemic circuit, there's lots of different places you can go, and depending on where you go, it can vary what can happen. Now, when you go to your heart, you're going to do the same thing you do as if you go to any muscle. You're going to drop off your oxygen, and you're going to pick up your CO2 and drop off nutrients and pick up waste. But this is a really important muscle, and this is referred to as the coronary circuit around your heart. Another circuit I wanted you to be aware of was your hepatic portal vein right here. And what we talked about is when you are going around your intestines, you could be picking up high levels of nutrients. So you're going to shuttle on over to the liver and get that nutrient level back down, and then it's going to return to the heart. If when you leave your intestines it's very low in nutrients, it could pick some up and go to the liver before it returns to the heart. And that helps keep our nutrient level right. It helps to maintain homeostasis. And there is an artery that just, the hepatic artery, that feeds the liver directly. But this shunt right here is called the hepatic portal vein. And it's to help with nutrient regulation. If blood went to your kidneys, what would happen here at your kidneys? What's the job of the kidneys? One of the jobs. Yeah, get rid of waste. It filters out the waste. Okay, so that's good. And let's talk about those capillaries. We talked about it before. At the arterial end of the capillary bed, you have two pressures at war here, but the largest pressure is the what? At the arterial end. Hydrostatic pressure. The hydrostatic pressure, this is due to the force in the blood due to the heart, is really elevated. So that's what forces oxygen and nutrients out. You have an osmotic pressure that draws in, but it's not as great at the arterial end. By the time you move to your venular end, your blood pressure is going to go down. So your hydrostatic pressure is going to go down, and it's going to be below that of the osmotic pressure that says come in. And that's how you recover CO2 and waste. So two different pressures at war with each other. At the arterial end, the hydrostatic pressure wins, forces fluid out. At the venular end of the capillary bed, osmotic pressure wins, it draws fluid in. Whatever doesn't get recovered, because you're not going to recover everything you pushed out, that gets picked up by your lymphatic system. And your lymphatic system will pick up that excess tissue fluid, drop it off at a lymph node before it returns it. Here's another picture showing that same thing. So if this is the arterial end and this is the venual end, here we're looking at a capillary bed. At the arterial end, you've got things going out. At the venual end, you have things coming back in, and that's due to those two different pressures. And you also have this diagram here, if that helps you. Are you leaving?
Oh, no.
Okay. Do you need me to explain this diagram, or are you good? Good? Okay. So then the next thing we talked about is, so we're in the venual end. What's going to happen? Artery, arterial, capillary in the middle, then venual, vein. What's the job of a vein? Bring the blood back. So what is the big motivator to get blood back? Because oftentimes you're going against gravity.
Valves.
Valves will help with this. But the biggest push, okay, so valves will keep it going in the right direction, but what keeps the blood flowing is your skeletal muscles pushing against your collapsible vein walls, because they're not as thick and as strong as arteries. So when the skeletal muscle near it contracts, it squeezes it, it compresses it. And blood would go shooting in two different directions if it wasn't for what you brought up, and those are the valves, the one-way valves. So as the skeletal muscles contract, collapses them, and blood goes shooting back. If that does not work, you can get pooling of blood, and that's where you get those varicose veins, right? And it's when your valves break. And then remember, I showed you that really good picture. Remember that? Yes. No, I'm not looking. Okay, so hemorrhoids are varicose veins in your rectum.
How would people want to take pictures of themselves and just
Oh, I'm sure that's a doctor's office. I don't think that's somebody posting that on Instagram. And if they are, I'm sure they have other issues. Okay, so now when we study blood, so you have your formed elements like red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. So what's the job of a red blood cell?
Carry oxygen.
Carry oxygen. What's the job of a white blood cell?
Fight against infection.
Fight against infection. What's the job of platelets? What? Clot blood. Good. And these formed elements are sitting in plasma. Plasma is mostly what?
Water.
Water. But we memorized ways how to remember everything that's in plasma, right? So we're just going to remember those things, and we'll check them off as we go through it. And we think about a road trip, and that's all I'm saying about that. But we have what? What do we have? Gases, right? And then we might want to go get some nutrients, and those nutrients could be salts or proteins. And then we usually have some nitrogenous waste, hormones, vitamins. Okay, good. All right. And we did that. Hemoglobin is in your red blood cells. It's what's carrying your oxygen. We talked about blood clotting. Okay, and we just had the diseases to go through. And I want to make sure you remember those because the diseases are on there, and your additional objectives you need to do. Okay, so riddle me this. Maybe riddle me. Will it be 8? Will there be 8? Come now. Iron Man, Plastic Man. Did you already put your clicker away? Let's see. Yay! 8. So proud of you. Okay. Don't do these things. Don't smoke, don't overeat, don't eat foods high in cholesterol. Okay, do be healthy. You just want to make sure you know your diseases. High blood pressure is referred to as hypertension. Hypertension is high blood pressure. Reasons why you might have high blood pressure: when you have plaque buildup in your arterial walls, that's called atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis is when you have plaque buildup. We talked about a stroke. Stroke can be caused for a couple of different reasons, but in a stroke, part of your brain has died. Okay, in a stroke, part of your brain has died because it hasn't had the oxygen that it needs and the nutrients. How could that have happened? You could have a blood clot that's up there. You could have an aneurysm that burst, and so it didn't get the nutrients that it needed. If you have a cramp in your heart, if you have blockage in a coronary artery, you're going to have a heart attack. Blockage in a coronary artery, you have a heart attack. And then here is an aneurysm. This one is ruptured, and so a ruptured aneurysm could lead to a stroke. That stroke is brain death. Okay? And let's do these. Make it 9. Make it 9. Blood clot, not plaque buildup, but some sort of blood clot in a coronary artery. Uh-oh. Is it going to be 8? You got this, plastic man.
Okay. Well, she did it too, so don't use my fault.
And it's 8. Good job, you guys.
Oh, you got it
We got
right.
it right. It wasn't nice.
All right. Yeah, so that's a heart attack. When you have a blood clot and a good, know that, because I bet some class is going to get that tomorrow, and you're not going to miss it now if it's in your class. Blood clot in a coronary artery is a heart attack. Let's go, Star-Lord. Yay, good, I'm glad you got that. So the key thing here is that the portion of the brain dies, and so whenever you have that, that's a stroke. Could die for various reasons, but. Okay. Right, let me go back one. Let me move forward. Good, you got it. Yay, that's 2. Working your way back up. Good job, Green Lantern. And you're going to do your additional objectives, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Iron Man, Plastic Man. Iron Man.
Oh, I think I did the wrong one.
Dang it.
But it's okay. I forgive myself.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna hate
Yeah,
it.
so it is A. Plaque buildup is atherosclerosis. A heart attack, somebody pick C. A heart attack is when you have a blood clot in a coronary artery. Yay, back to 1. The end. Okay, good job, you guys. Super proud of you. All 5 of you. It's a good thing they showed up, so this review was recorded for the rest of you watching this at home. Have a piece of toast, but just not too much butter.